Alright guys, we're back in the shop with the Honda Pioneer sub transmission, and today we're going to split it apart, see what's going on with it. Before we do that, a couple things you want to make sure of. There's two marks here, one here and one here, that you want to make sure them marks down in there lined up with. And before we split it apart, we're going to go ahead and take this sensor out and this dipstick out, and then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bolts that we're going to take out to get this thing separated. So let's get started on it. There's actually only 8 bolts, and then this sensor, all of them are 10mm, and then you're just going to have to take you a screwdriver or pry bar and be very gentle. And actually it looks like, yeah, okay, this is just going to slide right up, and since I'm doing this by myself, I'm just going to set the camera down real quick to make sure nothing tries to jump out of place or anything like that. Once you get the two halves separated, it should look something like this. And as you can see, we had a little thrust washer. It's stuck. Pretty common deal. Actually, we've had a couple of them get stuck. You want to keep up with where they go. There's a little old bitty one right here, bigger one here. Looks like the only ones. Just gonna set that to the side. This is what the inside of the sub transmission should look like. We're thinking our problem is going to lie down in here amongst all this fun looking stuff. Okay, so now what I'm going to do to start disassembling this is to take this spring assembly loose here that works off your shift linkage that goes against the parking pawl. Get it out of the way so I can take the parking pawl off. It is spring loaded. The spring will probably come loose when you pull it out. And once we get these two pieces out of the way, then we will move on to our next step. So once you get your park pawl, you got a spring, pawl thing, and a spacer, a spacer, spring, your shaft. Keep all that together. You will have this arm piece right here, down in here, that works this shift drum, and we're going to need to keep it held back out of the way. Now, I'll show you a little trick. What you can do is you can get your screwdriver over in here and keep it pulled back, and put you a bolt here in this and fix it with a key ring, and I'll get this fixed and I'll show you what I'm talking about. And this is just a key ring I stole off an old foiler key. As you can see, I got my screwdriver down in there, got it jammed up, got a bolt in it, and the key rings just hold the screwdriver. So that's just a little trick there. Now, the next thing we want to do is take this thrust washers, is what I call them, off. These are a really tight fit. They have to come pretty much straight off, so you can use these shift forks right here and this collar piece that goes around the gears to kind of push up on it to get everything lined up. Use both hands and everything. You should be able to get it off real easy. Alright, so what I had to do was end up getting a little screwdriver to help me get this thing off, because it is very tightly fitted. Now we're just gonna set this over to the side and move on to our next step. Now the next thing we're gonna do is pull this up. You wanna make sure you keep it together because they say that there's a washer and a needle bearing. We're gonna go ahead and set our spring over to the side. You wanna twist this around till you get it on this slot that goes all the way down, and this should come up as one assembly with the twist your shift drum around. That's what I call this. And then these shift forks and everything should line up and slide right up the drum. And right there is the needle bearing and washer. So we're just gonna set this right over here and then get our needle bearing and washer and set underneath it. Now we have our needle bearing and washer that is up underneath here. This one does have a small shim that goes right here on the shift fork, so I just zip tied it to this because if you're like me, stuff small like that has a tendency of just disappearing. This is that shim that we took off the top of this originally. They come off of this shaft. I'm just gonna sit it on the top right here and then move back over here and continue on. Now we're able to move one of our bigger pieces, which is the final drive here, and it should just pull right out. It's probably going to take both hands, so let me set the camera down real quick and pull this out. Now we're down to what they call the reverse gear, and it does have a special, another big special washer on it right here. It does have to come off. Alright, so we got the washer off. Again, these are kind of hard to get off. I've been using a screwdriver to kind of gently prise them up a little bit. Just gonna set it to the side, and then these two pieces and this are all supposed to come out as one assembly. I do know that there's some needle bearings and stuff down here from what I've read and stuff, so this should be a little bit of a chore to try to get both these out at the same time. It shouldn't be too bad. So let's get started on that. Honestly guys, there was nothing to that. It all slid up very easily and stayed together for the most part. Like I said, here's your shift forks and the rod that it slides up and down on. There is the reverse gear, and here is the I cannot remember what they call this, but this is the problem that we are dealing with here. As you can see, these dogs here have got some wire on them. Get this phone right on. You can see that shiny spot right there on that corner there. See where it's been chewed up on a little bit right there. Camera will not focus. And of course you can see where it's been really gnawed on right here, where it's really been slipping on them dogs and on this other piece here. You see where it's nicked up, which was calling our, if you've seen our first video on pulling this, at the beginning of the video I showed you where it was growling when you try to go to put it in reverse, and that is what caused all that. So, sub transmission on a Pioneer 1000. This is a limited edition. I don't think it really matters though. If you guys like videos like this and other videos like this on how to fix your stuff, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We're on other social media platforms such as Facebook and TikTok. So be sure to check us out there. Don't forget to give us a follow, subscribe to our channel, and as always, appreciate you guys watching. Catch us out in the next video.